So for those of you watching that don't recognize who you're watching, I'm Mike Hurd. I'm the Communications Director for the Master Amateur Retriever Club, and joining me tonight is Rhonda Reed. Rhonda, tell us about, you're the, I always get these mistakes. Are you the director or the vice president or
Vice President, Vice President for
of
the
the West
Master
region?
Amateur Retriever Club.
Okay, and you're the chairperson for the upcoming Master Amateur Invitational in 2024.
That's correct. That's
Okay.
correct.
So you're the one we need to talk to about the upcoming event. So give us some of the details.
It's going to be in the area around Carnation, Washington. Interesting side note is that Carnation, Washington is where Carnation was originally produced. The Carnation Company was centered. And in fact, one of our major sponsors, Purina, was originally based at that facility, if my history is clear. So we're kind of going back to the farm. They're not there anymore. They produce elsewhere, but there's a little bit of nostalgia there. The grounds are the snow.
Yes, I was looking at my notes. I think that you're right.
It's a Snoqualmie Valley.
Yes.
Snoqualmie Valley Retriever Training Grounds, formerly owned by Pepper Snyder. They're under new ownership and very nicely managed. A local hotspot for local trainers. Great ponds. The grass will always be interesting depending upon what kind of weather we have, as we all know, in the springtime. And it could be very warm, or it could be overcast and Pacific Northwest gray. So we could have a lot of variety. It's definitely not going to be snowy, knock on wood. The folks, part of the reason why I picked this place was that we were looking for scheduling, trying to listen to our members in the north part of the country who have concerns about being able to get their dogs in the water early enough to be able to attend an event that happens as early as April or early May. So I'm in California. For us, we finish our most of our events by April, or mid to late April, and but in the Pacific Northwest, that's when they start going, about March to March through the summertime, in fact. So I think June is going to be an ideal time. The actual event will start on June 9th. We'll have opening ceremonies and a handlers meeting and registration on the 8th at the Evergreen State Fairgrounds, which is in Monroe, Washington, about 20 minutes north of the training grounds. Sorry, of the test grounds. And we're still working on the ideal location for our workers' party on Tuesday night. Could be a variety of locations. We would start on the 9th of June, and we will finish up by the 16th as our bylaws require. We have no idea exactly how many dogs we will have entered. So we could have one flight or two flights. I do not believe we'll have 3 flights this year. We have yet to make that milestone. But I think it'll be a great event and a lot of fun. And what I really like about the Master Amateur Invitational is the kind of the intimacy, the getting to know each other, and having a single flight actually has that advantage, is that you see everybody who's there.
So I'm curious how you picked these grounds, because you're from California and past Master Amateur Invitationals have been in California.
Yep. And we did the 2020 rescheduled event in California, and in Corning, where Corning, the logistics are really easy. We've got the birds right there. We've got the grounds right there. We've got the accommodations, RV park. Everything is right there. It's very, very straightforward in doing it. Great grounds. And but it gets warm. It's in the Central Valley, California. It gets warm really quickly, and we can have either lush grass or we can have very dry grass, depending upon how the seasons work. There are nice grounds in Oregon, but I hadn't been up in Washington for a long time, and some other folks had expressed, when the Master National had considered doing their event in Eastern Washington, 2 years ago, a year before,
Mhm.
Master National before last.
Yep.
They were aiming for Eastern Washington, and it got relocated at the last minute. And there were a lot of people who were disappointed that they couldn't actually visit that part of the country. So a couple of years ago, I made a foray up to the training grounds for a hunt test on the weekend, because what I wanted to see was how the people up there work together. I've met a fair number of them at the 2020 rescheduled event down in Corning. Good folks, a lot of good energy, and what really sold me on the location, nice grounds, but the people are great, and they were all very excited about, yeah, maybe we could do this. We could do this. We could these facilities and those facilities, and we could make it all happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been very fortunate to have some very key people up in the area who've been really helpful and putting me up when I come up to do some planning activities for a few days, and or come up to run my dog to try to get them qualified for the 2024 event.
Sure.
And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
So how big is the grounds there? I've been there 20 years ago, and it's changed quite a bit since then. Is it big enough to hold 2 flights on?
It is, with some strategic planning, but if we have 2 flights, we also have a reservation in for the Cherry Valley Wildlife Area nearby, which is huge. And so we can work with that. The Cherry Valley will either be used as pre-training area, or it will be used as training grounds, depending upon how many entries we have. So I don't expect that the areas to be a limiting factor at all. Realistically, if we had 2 full flights, which we have not yet had, that would be 200 dogs, and that's about what we put on those grounds for a weekend hunt test. And it might take some creativity to do it all in one place, but we have plenty of other areas nearby where we can expand if we have the opportunity to expand. And I would love to have 150 to 175 dogs entered in the event, and just let's expand our test areas.
Yeah, sure. And so we need to actually tell folks in the Western and West Central regions they need to go, right?
They need to go.
Yeah.
Your dog got qualified. Start your vacation planning and start your packing plans and come on up.
So the qualifying window closes the end of February.
February 29th, at the very end of February. And I know I looked on Entry Express, and there are a fair number of tests that are happening in the Texas area. The clubs in California have really stepped up, and they're offering additional events in the wintertime. The Marin Retriever Club is holding one on the 20th and 21st of January. And the challenge of running a test in January is getting gunners, because they're usually out duck hunting. And then hopefully we don't have deluge wet rains like we did last year. Yeah. But a little rain is good. These are supposed to be water loving dogs as well as water loving people, right? Yeah,
that's right.
They're also Sand and Sage, which is normally based up in Eastern Washington. Yep. But they're some of their key players actually winter down at the Lost Hills training grounds for the California Retriever Training Association.
Yep.
They're going to host a double header the first weekend in February, and then in Nevada at Overton, and potentially down in Island at the far south end of California, there will be double headers, master test, or complete master and junior tests, depending upon the venue. So I think there's still plenty of opportunities, and all it takes is still 4 passes.
Yeah. But as Dave Christensen told me, you have to have a master hunter title dog.
Yes, the dog has to have its master title before the end of February, and it has to have 4 passes. And it doesn't have to be complete the title, then 4 passes. Some of those title passes can also count towards your qualification.
So we should remind folks that are watching then that the Master Amateur is unique in the fact that you have to be a member of the Master Amateur Retriever Club. You have to pay dues, and that's step number one, correct? You got to, yeah, you have to
Step
be a
number
member.
one. Yep, that's right. It's only $50. So, so easy to join online. If you weren't sure that your dog might pass, but you still got some opportunities, and your dog passes on a weekend test, as long as you get your membership in before that event results are recorded, that pass will count. And if you have another member of the Master Amateur Retriever Club running your dog, that pass will also count. But the dog needs to be run by an amateur who's a member of the Master Amateur Retriever Club for those passes to count.
Great.
This is different than the Master National, where the clubs actually are members of the Master National Retriever Club. For the Master Amateur, we amateurs, we are the heart and soul of the club. We make it happen.
Sure. Let's talk about the judges. Some of these, I don't recognize anybody on your list, so I'm curious who you got.
Okay, I should pull up my list again. So I hid things from myself. And
let's see.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So Joy Edsall, she's from the Eastern region. One of our East region director, John Dauber, knows her, is judged with her, knows her well. She's very well respected. I also don't know her either, so I'm looking forward to actually meeting her. And another advantage, she's been judging for years, and she's been invited to judge for our event in the past, but she's a professor, so she cannot judge unless our event happens after her classes are over. So having it very late in the year has given her the opportunity to say, yes, I can do it. Because remember, our judges are there, they're there planning the setups and so forth the week before we actually are there with our dogs at the line. Matt Griffiths is, I'll get this wrong, he's from
Central.
He's from Central, and he's from Kentucky. He's from Kentucky. And I also don't know, he was actually on our short list for judges if we had a third flight at Giddings. So we weren't able to take advantage of his skills there, but we'll be able to pair him up with Joey on this one. I shouldn't be giving that away. Many of you may know Carol Hines, who is from Michigan. Is that right?
I don't know.
Unprepared interviewee. She's from Wisconsin. Oh, shame on me.
Okay.
Shame on me. I should know that better. She has judged Master National and has a lot of experience both on the East and West Coast. And one of the things that I really believe in with respect to our national competitions, that I think it's really important that we rotate the locations from the East across the country to the West, because in my opinion, a nationally titled dog should be able to find birds in sagebrush, in swamps, dodging the alligators, in the snow, or in rivers and where the footing is sound and you're going to safely put your dog. So I think having that broad experience, I know with my dogs and the opportunities that I've had to take them different places, the more experiences they get, the better they get, and they show that ability to think through those challenging situations and a different picture and really show their skills. Mark Watson is from Texas, and I know that one of our board members was very excited that he was going to be one of our judges, or be invited to judge. So we're looking for. I also have not met him either. And Linda Johnson is our alternate, and she's on the West Coast.
Yes.
We want our alternate to be close by. We also wanted to switch. We wanted to have the opportunity for people we expect that there'll be, when we have an event in the East, we have more members from the East region who attend. Our members, of course, tend to attend, or more likely to attend an event that's closer to where they live. So we wanted to create the opportunity for folks on the West Coast to run under judges they wouldn't typically have that opportunity to run under unless they traveled greater distances. So our only Western region judge is our alternate, Linda Johnson, and I've run under her before. She's creative and and very polite in excusing my unmannerly dog at the line.
Okay, well, that takes care of the judges. Who do you have on the committee?
Oh, on our committee, we have some of our key board members. So the key job for the vice president for the region where the event is going to be held is to actually put the event on. Mm-hmm. So this is my fourth invitational that I've worked through, and so I've got a few little practical experiences under my belt, and it's my opportunity to chair. My co-chair is Mark Fredericks, who is our East Coast director, and he will be planning the 2025 event. He also has been a key member on the committees for the Giddings event. He was because of a family emergency wasn't able to be at the Sedalia event, but he did a great job in lining all the things up that he had to for hospitality. So it ran very smoothly without him, which is not to say he's not important. David Christensen is our West Central vice president, and he was the chair last year, and he will be our secretary this year. So he'll be carrying his experience on all the good things that worked in Texas to help us out on the West Coast. And he also attended the event in Corning too. So he was I believe the stake chair there. A lot of help. Great guy. I missed the Central vice president, Jace Tremonton, which I probably mispronounced that, as many of us have. And he's got a long history with the Master Amateur, being involved in the early days as the format for the Master Amateur was being developed. So we're really happy to have him back on the board, and he's been very helpful with a lot of advice and ideas and thoughts. And he's recently retired, so he has time. So that's a really good thing. And our final member of the committee is Julie Cairns, who is my West Coast director, partner in crime here, and hostess par excellence. She's going to be our hospitality chair.
Okay, great. How about let's see, grounds to train on before the event? How's that going?
Still working on them. We have 3 really nice areas with respect to ponds, and some of this depends on whether or not Cherry Valley is going to be used for the test or for pre-training. And the Department of Fish and Wildlife there in Washington has done a nice job the last couple of years, and kind of I think it was neglected for a couple of years, what I hear from the locals, but they've got a program where they do some mowing and haying, which makes the area much more usable for dog training and dog testing. And there's several ponds on the property. We have another area called, it's Greenleaf Retrievers. It was formerly Jerry's Place, and it's a nice pond. I think he's got about 75 acres. Colin Ching is a local pro there who's just recently taken that property over, and it's got several ponds on the property. He also had connected me with one of his clients, Ben Thompson, who is a little bit further north, but has some excellent ponds on in his backyard. It's an enviable backyard, and great, land and water opportunities. Most of these properties, you will be able to shoot birds. There's some of the others I'm working with, some of the more upland properties that I don't know yet whether or not you could be able to shoot there. If you are shooting domesticated birds on private ground, that you don't have to have a license. You don't have a Washington license for that. If you're shooting on public areas, then you do have to have a Washington license. I'm hoping I'm getting that exactly right. I'm getting the formal language out of the regulations as we speak these days. So we'll be, if we're using Cherry Valley, we may make some strategic decisions about what flights our gunners are going to be and who has licenses and how we're going to manage that.
In the past, we've always used ducks. Are we going to use ducks, or are you going to try and use ducks and pheasants this year?
Oh, the premium will say ducks and pheasants. And I would dearly love to use pheasants in the series. The downside to holding the event in June, from the advice I've gotten from our duck suppliers, is that June is when the birds are in their peak of their mating season. Males are extremely aggressive to each other, as are the hens. Mm-hmm. And you have this challenge of trying to maintain the quality of the birds at that time of year when their minds are on tearing each other to pieces. Yeah. So I'm kind of leaning, it's probably going to be more ducks, but we're always keeping the door open for pheasants.
That's right. So yeah, I've ran national amateur field trials in June, and that's always a problem because the hens will be laying eggs, and if an egg cracks inside of them, they die, and it's more trouble than it's worth most of the time. But
yeah, and the hens, their resources are going into reproduction, so they're not strong, they're not good flyers, and it makes it difficult on the gunners, and it's a lot more interesting.
All right. Let's see. How about, so you got a note in here about RV, people that come with RVs. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So the county, King County, we're located in King County in Washington, and they have a regulation that basically says that no one can camp in the state-run or any of the campgrounds there that are publicly run for more than 7 days in a month. Which makes it really difficult for our members. We have received special permission that our folks who are coming up for the event can stay longer, but the way we're going to do that is in the premium, there's a link where you can sign up on a form, your interest to camp during the events, and we're going to ask for dates and so forth, the length of your rig. It's not a commitment of funds. We will be later in the spring when we come closer to the actual event, probably in April after we close. We will be in contact with all the folks who want to do RV camping and kind of provide those names to the county at the same time. The most RV camping we have is at the Evergreen State Fairgrounds in Monroe. There is a Thousand Trails campground, not that far away, but they're not set up for a group as large as we have, and they're a little bit more expensive. But there are options for folks.
Yeah, I was surprised there wasn't a KOA nearby.
So was I, when you consider how much outdoor activity there is very little camping. I think it's actually just so close to Seattle that people tend to go beyond. Mm-hmm. We're just really kind of over the hill from the metropolitan Seattle Tacoma area. Yeah. So it's really kind of a little idyllic valley that can give you the sense of being away from it all, but it's very close to it all. So if you're flying into the Seattle Tacoma airport, or having to drive through the Seattle Tacoma metropolitan area, plan on traffic. There will be delays no matter what time of day you're coming through. Yeah. There are back roads that might take a little bit longer, but they're a little less stressful. Especially during the weekdays, they move along pretty well. Whereas the stuff closer into town is going to be more congested. But most of the areas, I put a post on Facebook several months ago about kind of general communities to look into. The Redmond and Monroe and Fall City, Fall Creek, Fall City, are within the valley there, and they're we're not talking about freeway traffic. Issaquah, yeah.
Okay, well, that gives us a good idea of of what we got. My 10-week-old puppy wants to go outside. So we'll wrap it up real quick, but we're going to have a lot more information on our website. All right, the
Great.
Amateur Retriever Club.
Yep. Oh, and the host hotel will be the Evergreen Inn and Suites in Monroe.
Oh, okay. So that's close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. All right. Is there anything you need folks to help you with?
Well, we're always looking for good items for the raffle. If you're an artist with a specialty that you would like to share with, and contribute to the club for our silent auction, or a jeweler, some piece of fine jewelry that you just don't wear anymore. But and if you know any good contacts in the area of local businesses who might want to provide, we will have a training guide, and there'll be advertising in there. And we're really going to, after the first of the year, we'll do a real push on the local folks to promote their local businesses. There are plenty of great eateries about 10 minutes from the grounds. So we're not planning on having a food truck or anything on site, because you can very quickly zip off the grounds and come back. We're also considering having a tailgate challenge, a different theme each day of the week.
Oh yeah.
And he's the hook.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that the Wisconsin folks are going to have a brat challenge, and the Texas folks may propose some sort of a Taco Tuesday jamboree, and then we'll kind of see what else evolves. So those are some of the things to watch for, those challenge options on the website.
Okay.
On the website.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and we'll probably check in with you in a couple of months and see how it's going.
Real good.
All right.
Thanks,
All right.
Mike.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. All right. See ya.
Night.
Bye.